Hey y'all, hi. Okay, today we are going to be discussing what is essentially a single, easy to remember strategy for fixing a bland outfit. At first, I just want to clarify that if you are feeling like your wardrobe is bland or like your outfits often lack a certain je ne sais quoi, there are two separate parts of your life during which you can potentially address that. One is the part of your life when you are shopping. So that's a time during which the decisions that you make are definitely going to affect the outfits that you end up wearing. But this video isn't about shopping. It's about how to fix a bland outfit using what you already have, no matter what you have, during the part of your life when you are actually getting dressed. So let's get right into the meat of this video. Also, I'm Hannah. I forgot to say that. It's fine. We're all fine. It's 2026. We're not all fine, but I am Hannah. For some of us, before we even get to the starting line, the logistical process of fixing a bland outfit, there is another question that matters a lot, that might even matter the most. And that is this question. Am I holding myself back from being stylish? Do I feel on some level like style is for other people, but it's not for me? If there is an internal force making you feel bad about wanting to be stylish, then that's the main culprit for your bland outfits. And this isn't an issue for everyone, but I think it blights enough of us that it's worth mentioning. Personal style is a kind of joy and an expression of power and confidence. In this troubled world, in this troubled time, a lot of us struggle for various reasons with maybe feeling like we don't deserve joy, alienated from joy for really good reasons. It can be hard to access on many days. Some of us feel deeply uncomfortable with the idea of being confident and being powerful in our interactions with others. And those life experiences, like those experiences of being, are related to fashion. And there's not a magic trick or a magic video that's going to flip a switch and turn off those struggles. And I think that they're an important part of being human, and they come from sensitivity, which is a good thing. But before I take you up to the starting line and ask you the fun question of this video, take a minute to check in with yourself and acknowledge if you are a person who is holding yourself back from style for some reason. And just keep that knowledge with you going forward so that you can recognize that voice for what it is when it speaks to you, and then you can make a conscious decision about how you are going to converse with it. Okay, hoping you are all with me. Are you with me? How to fix a bland outfit. Here we are at the starting line. Here's the question. What is the opposite of bland? To me, the immediate and logical answer is drama. To fix a bland outfit, you have to introduce some drama. If your knee-jerk reaction is, well, that's not going to work for me. I'm not a dramatic person. I'm not a dramatic dresser. I don't want to increase drama. I don't want to be dramatic. Drama doesn't suit me and never will. Do not fear, because the introduction of drama to an outfit is a subtler art and has a subtler outcome potentially than you might think. And in fact, it can go entirely in a direction that is probably the opposite of what you're imagining and make you feel great. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. First, a very quick word from my glorious sponsor today, which I'm extra excited about because I'm going to show you video footage of our revamped bedroom setup. During our time off earlier this month, Joe and I worked on finally finishing our bedroom, which we haven't done since we moved into this house over a year ago, and it was getting kind of musty and depressing. So part of the upgrade was this gorgeous boll and branch bedding. These are the signature vintage wash sheets in the shade Vintage Cream. I am so deliciously compelled by them. It's like, how some fabrics just have that it factor? The texture is the very softest lived-in cotton, but it's also substantial and luxurious. And it's bringing me so much pleasure when I get into bed at night with this closet and the lamp that we added, and with the waffle bed blanket from Boll and Branch, which is the thickest, best quality version of this type of blanket that I have ever seen. And I have seen quite a few of them in my life. It pretty much feels like an entirely new room. And it's the sleep room, it's the haven, and that matters so much. Getting into bed, into this bedding now at the end of the day, with the room finally feeling complete and intentional, it is palpably more relaxing than it was before. Side note too, this is the first duvet cover I've ever had that zips at the bottom instead of buttoning. So there's no sagging and shapelessness, no exposed duvet. I am totally sold and I'm never going back. Everything about this bedding has impressed and delighted me. So I'm really grateful to Boll and Branch for contributing significantly to the success of our bedroom refresh. But let's get back to it. I was just saying that you can introduce aesthetic drama into an outfit without identifying as a dramatic person or ending up looking dramatic. And here's what I meant by that. Aesthetic drama is not always loud, and it doesn't always come from making a splash or adding more. In fact, the main idea that I want to present to you is this. Like, if you take one thing away from this video, I want it to be this. You can access aesthetic drama in one of two ways, either by adding more or by editing down to less. Bland outfits are, I feel, almost always bland, not because they're not doing enough, but because they're doing a middling amount. Like, they're a little bit too busy to be striking, like too busy to have a point of view. And then they also are not busy enough to be striking. They are not busy enough to have a point of view. They could go in either one of those directions and they're not doing either. So if your outfit that you're trying to put together is just sitting there in the middle, being muddy, then you can choose, you have a choice. You can go in either one of those two directions. You can either do more or you can do less. So let's look at some concrete examples of these two ways in which you can problem solve and move away from blandness and towards not necessarily extreme drama, but just not bland. We're going to start with doing less, because I feel like doing more is what people immediately think of, and doing less is a slightly more interesting offering of this video. So here, are you kidding me? This is, of course, Abisola Omole, a paradigm of doing less to dramatic effect. And you know, of course, there are some exquisite garments in this picture, like the leather skirt, the sheer top, are doing hard work in a quiet way. But the point I want to make here specifically with this example is about accessories. Like, imagine if her fingers were covered with rings, if she had on a bunch of chunky necklaces and, I don't know, like an interesting hat. Here's the thing. She's Abisola Omole. She has that. I feel confident she has many interesting hats available to her. Exquisite, beautiful, minimalist, striking things. She has so many beautiful things available to her. She works in fashion. She probably has chunky necklaces and rings galore. And so when she put together this outfit, she made the active choice to omit all of those accessories. She chose a bare neck and bare hands and a bare head, almost as though the absence of those accessories is itself an accessory. And you know, it's hard to argue that she would have looked bland, fully bland, even with all of those accessories piled on. It wouldn't quite have been bland, but she arguably would have looked more middling fashion-wise, like less vibrating with that glow of aesthetic sensibility that this image truly has. And you know, if she was wearing a bunch more accessories, I think this image would not have caught my eye the way that it did, and I wouldn't have saved it, and I wouldn't be presenting it to you in this video. Here is another fantastic, very pared down and specific example of doing less. So in this case, it has to do with less, like a lower level of formality for the shoes. I would argue in this image that if she was wearing shoes that are more fancy, like, I don't know, fancy knee-high leather boots or cowboy boots, then this outfit would actually feel more bland. If she had this on with Chelsea boots and she was about to walk out the door and she looked in the mirror and she was like, I'm feeling bland in this, I would be like, yeah, fair, kind of. And then if she was like, I'm going to do what Hannah said in her video and I'm going to try to do less to make this outfit come alive. And the interpretation of doing less in that moment was to put on less formal footwear. And then she switched out the Chelsea boots for these sneakers. I feel like that's a successful application of this concept. And the outfit just glows, right? It really has a je ne sais quoi. It's very simplified. It's stark in a way, but it's not bland. Oh my goodness, I love this example because it's a monochromatic outfit. It's a matched set. Both of those choices, a monochromatic outfit, a matched set, like top and pants that are a suit in a way. Those kinds of outfits inherently achieve drama by doing less. They are the last word in achieving drama by doing less, or maybe the first word. And in this case, it's so easy to envision how much more bland this outfit would be if, for example, the pants were just basic jeans. Like a basic pair of jeans. In this case, doing less means simplifying the outfit so that there are fewer colors and textures. It's like doing less overall, and that is what is making it more dramatic, making it sing. Okay, lastly, another really interesting example of achieving balance by doing less. I've shown this image before, right? We've talked about it before. It's such a good example of so many things. So imagine if the base garment in this outfit was a printed dress, like a colorful printed dress instead of just a black sheath dress. I feel like if you imagine that in your mind's eye, you can see how it would move the outfit into that unexciting territory of having a lot going on, but without the critical mass of stuff going on that would take it all the way over into successful maximalism, maximalist harmony. I actually think that this look would even sing without the yellow sweater. It would be paring it back even more. I think it would still be exquisite, or with the yellow sweater, but without the silver earrings. I think even then it would still be exquisite. It is still succeeding, I feel, because of restraint, but there's wiggle room, even with what's there, and it's beautiful. Okay, let's look at some examples of outfits that transcend the bland by doing more. So this is the model Erin Rose Phillips. Isn't this picture literally perfect? I love it so much. And I love this example because to me, this is an example of more is more, but it's not as though she's wearing a bunch of different garments. I think sometimes when you think of more is more, you think of adding a bunch more accessories or a bunch of more garments. And it's not more pieces of clothing that are making this a successful more is more outfit. What it is to me is the mixed prints. So imagine if instead of this ruched kind of sculptural pastel print top, she was wearing just a white t-shirt. My feeling is that she'd still look stunning, but in terms of the balance of the outfit, the place that it would fall on the spectrum between vibrating on a frequency and being bland, is that in that case, even the amazing drama of this skirt wouldn't keep the outfit from slipping a little bit towards that space of doing a lot but not quite enough. Or imagine if she was wearing this top but with jeans. It wouldn't be, the most bland look. Of course it wouldn't, but it wouldn't be singing like this look is. It wouldn't be like gagging us, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have crossed over. It's that risk, that boundary pushing of adding more on top of more that brought us here with this outfit. Oh, and this one, I love this one because this is maybe the best example that I found of a more is more outfit that's built entirely out of individual pieces that in a vacuum feel pretty normcore or like feel pretty basic and are the kind of individual pieces that many people might just already have. So let's do the visualization exercise. I feel like without the socks and I would say the hat, without the socks and the hat, this would feel so much less exciting that it's shocking actually, because you don't really think of socks and a hat of adding all that much complexity. But I feel like this is a really exciting and dynamic outfit. Without the socks and without the hat, it would almost be bland. So this is a realistic example for a lot of us because of the nature of the individual components. It's the addition of those extras, the deployment of those extras, adding one more thing, one more color, one more texture, one more accessory. That's what makes this outfit so dynamic and keeps the eye moving, even though unlike in the Erin Rose Phillips picture, for example, each individual piece in this outfit isn't necessarily a thing that feels like it would be a risk to buy or that feels high fashion. Oh, another one that I love because it's entirely about composition and combination and not about like having bought a cool garment, right? So imagine this without the collared shirt underneath a sweater, without the skirt over the pants, with the jeans uncuffed and all the way down so that you can't see the socks at all. Bland land, right? Then just immediately with all these same garments, it becomes less powerful. So to reverse engineer, if you're wearing a novelty sweater, jeans, and sneakers on any given day, and you're feeling bland, these are options for you. You could put a collared shirt underneath the sweater, cuff the jeans to reveal socks. If you really want to go the distance, put a pencil skirt on over your jeans if you really want to do it. But I would argue that even just the collared shirt and the cuffed jeans kind of take it there. Like move the needle far enough away from bland, and or I guess I would say far enough into the realm of dramatic more to keep it from feeling bland. And it also kind of shines a light on the fact that one exciting garment does not a dramatic outfit make. Or like a single exciting garment cannot rescue your outfit from feeling a little bland sometimes. Because if it wasn't styled this way, I think even this sweater, which is the standout piece, wouldn't be enough. And like I was saying about the Erin Rose Phillips outfit, even that amazing skirt, if it wasn't styled so skillfully, wouldn't be enough to make the entire thing sort of sing with power. Okay, and one more. I've shown this picture before a lot too. It's such a good example also of so many things. I really like this one because I feel like we can Imagineer it in either direction. In this case, I think this is a very well-balanced outfit, definitely not bland, but I feel like just removing the scarf would almost make it feel a little bit bland. I think in this case, it's wild, but the scarf is doing all of the heavy lifting. It's entirely responsible for pulling this outfit into the realm of maximalist harmony, or like layering harmony. But also imagine if the scarf was gone and the pink cardigan was also gone, and she was just wearing this like chunky oatmeal sweater that she's wearing as a jacket, but imagine she was wearing it as her top and it was buttoned all the way up, but with like a deep V. So it's just the jacket buttoned up and the pants and the bag and nothing else. I think then this outfit would have crossed over into drama on the side of less. I feel like you can kind of see it going either way. And that is also possible when you're tinkering with your own outfits and trying to get them out of that middle ground of like doing some but not enough. You can do more and see how that looks, and then also do way less and see how that feels. Either direction is often possible. So hopefully these concrete examples will have gotten you thinking and gotten you excited about trying this, but it's also going to be different when you do it. Partly because I am like image sourcing and ending up with a lot of fashion people. I tried to find images that felt like they were tied to the practical, but then there were some of them that were so interesting and beautiful that I couldn't help presenting them to you, even though it's like Abby Solo Omoli in a leather pleated skirt. And there are probably only 2 of you out there who have a skirt like that, you know? It's okay. We can be inspired. To sum it up and to give us some direction and kind of bring ourselves back down to earth and to our own realities, let's talk through what it might look like to tinker with an outfit along the lines of these principles. Kind of flowchart. It's kind of flowchart vibes right here at the end of the video. Step 1, you start off with the outfit that you're trying to put together, but it's feeling bland. Maybe it's something you've worn before and it doesn't feel like it has the spice that you have finally acknowledged that you really want for yourself. So you recognize, step 1, you recognize that you need to do something to make it, within reason, more dramatic. Because what's the opposite of bland? Dramatic. So step 2, you ask yourself, do I want to add or do I want to subtract? Then here's where we sort of, the flow chart splits. If you decide you want to add, it doesn't need to mean piling on more garments. It can, or piling on accessories. It can mean that, but it could also mean adding more color or texture or print by switching out a garment. So switching out a plain top for a printed top, or switching out a smooth bag for a textured bag, so that you're not necessarily leaning into login look. You're just adding more dynamic interactions between the garments that you're wearing, even if you're only wearing 4 things, like a top, a skirt, a pair of shoes, and a bag. Or it can be, as we saw in that one image, a matter of styling, right? Adding more dynamics, adding more dynamics with your styling, rolling up the cuffs to reveal socks, adding a hat or a scarf or a bunch of those things. And then similarly, if you want to edit, if you go in the direction of less, it is not always as simple as taking one thing off before you leave the house, right? It's not always as simple as wearing less than what you initially had on, removing all of your necklaces or something. It can mean, I think it maybe more often means, editing the color story of your outfit. So if you put your outfit together and you look at yourself in the mirror and you realize that altogether you're wearing 4 or 5 different colors, maybe switch out your shirt and your socks and your shoes for other shirt and socks and shoes so that you're actually now just wearing only 2 colors. And then you're wearing the same number of garments, but you're you're doing way less. The outfit's doing less labored in a way. Or if you're wearing a printed shirt, I think imbalance in an outfit like this, bland imbalance, can often come from wearing one printed garment and nothing else dynamic. Like just one floral printed shirt with like everything else really, really simple. In that case, you're feeling that uncomfortable feeling of muddy middling. You feel like the floral shirt is the star garment, but it might be that switching out that floral shirt for something that's not printed is what is going to pull you into the realm of kind of elegant, dramatic simplicity. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sort of just getting back on the horse after a break and starting to feel what it feels like to do my job again. And I've got to say, today it feels good. I really enjoyed doing this. I love being here with you. I'm glad to be refreshed. And I really, really hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself, because you deserve that no matter what it is